Is Diddy getting out on bail, yes or no? Inquiring minds absolutely want to know, and this is such a polarizing topic. I mean, you got one side saying he's innocent unless and until he's proven guilty, and so therefore he should have been out a couple months ago. And you have the other side saying, well, look at all the allegations, look at everything that's been coming out recently. He's evil, he needs to stay in custody. Well, we're going to break it down for you. My name is Jamahl Kersey. What's up, everybody? I'm a criminal defense attorney. I've been practicing law for over 15 years. And on this channel, we're breaking down legal topics so you can be in the know on what's going on. So Diddy had a bail hearing on November 22nd, and typically a judge is going to issue a decision right then and there, but this is far from the usual case. And, you know, sometimes a judge just needs more time, and not just talking about bail hearings, even in other decisions that the judge has to make, and they'll do what's called take a matter under submission, which is just a fancy way of saying, I need more time to think about it. So on Friday, I was actually in court all afternoon while this hearing was going on. And so once I get out, I'm on my phone checking the headlines like, did he get out? Did he get it? So we don't have an answer quite yet. The judge needed more time to think things over, and this really makes sense. I mean, this bail hearing lasted almost 2 hours. And to put that in context, most bail hearings are going to be less than 10 minutes, a lot of them even less than 5. So that just gives you an understanding of all this information that the judge ultimately had to process. So not only did we have almost 2 hours of argument, but also the paper filings by both parties. So just a lot of information to sift through. And this is a very, very serious case. Also, there's obviously national, even international news coverage. And in the end, the judge just wants to make sure that he's making the right call, and you can't be mad at him for that. So let me know, how do you see the judge ruling on this? Will he get out, or is he going to be detained pending trial? All right, so as to be expected, the defense was arguing for Puff's release, and they proposed, again, the $50 million bail package, which also includes 24/7 monitoring at an apartment. So they proposed Diddy being confined to a 3-bedroom apartment on the Upper East Side in New York, and you can imagine just how swanky and posh that spot is gonna be. But yeah, he would be on lockdown, no visitors apart from his legal team and selected family members. I gather that would be his mother and probably his children. Outside of that, no one else would be able to come onto the property. Besides that, he would have no internet access and no phone access except to communicate with his counsel. So the idea is, if you really think that Diddy's a danger either to the community or witnesses in the case or alleged victims, him being under 24/7 security and not having access to communication devices, then the defense's position is there's zero risk of any of that stuff happening, and so therefore he should be able to be released on bond. Prosecutors fired back, basically saying that Diddy has demonstrated that he either cannot or will not follow rules, and that he basically cannot be trusted. Another interesting argument that came up from the defense was regarding former Abercrombie & Fitch CEO Mike Jeffries. Now, he is being charged with sex trafficking as well, but he's out on a $10 million bond. And so the question is, why is he out of custody and Diddy's still in? And it's interesting because these type of case comparisons happen all the time. And I'm not necessarily talking about, you know, billionaires being charged with sex trafficking, but I just mean when people are in custody, a lot of times they're comparing details of their cases. For example, you might have a guy in custody on a relatively low-level felony domestic violence charge, and he can't get out of custody. And then you see somebody on an attempted murder or a murder charge end up getting out somehow, and that leaves folks scratching their heads like, how did he get out and I'm still in? Well, the challenge with these comparisons is oftentimes you don't have all the information, and it makes it really difficult to make a comparison between the two situations. Well, the U.S. Attorney's Office did have an answer to that. They said, first of all, Mike Jeffries is 80 years old and he has no prior criminal history. On the contrary, Puff is only in his 50s and he has prior arrests. Prosecutors also referenced the firearms that had been taken from Puff's residence, and they had the serial numbers scratched off, and that's always going to raise a security concern or a safety issue for prosecutors and judges alike. So regarding the comparison between Puff and Mike Jeffries, it'll be interesting how the judge deals with that issue. And of course, the 2016 video involving Puff and Kersey came up yet again, and the defense is doing the best that they can to minimize the sting and the impact of this video. They're really trying to say that this is just a domestic violence incident that was part of a toxic relationship between Diddy and Cassie. Prosecutors argue that this video is evidence of the sex trafficking in that Puff physically dominated Cassie, he was violent with her, and he coerced her into doing things that she didn't want to, including participating in these freak-offs. So this is not an easy decision for Judge Subramanian. I don't envy being in his position, and honestly, I could really see this going either way. I could see him saying, well, with the $50 million that's being put up, that is not an insubstantial amount of money, in addition to 24/7 security, no access to phones, no access to internet. I could see him finding that that combination of conditions would be sufficient to protect the public, protect alleged victims, and potential witnesses. On the other hand, we've already had 2 different judges find that this combination of conditions simply was not enough to overcome the danger allegation. In the end, if I had to make a judgment call, I'd say the judge is probably not going to let Diddy out on bond. We'll see whether I'm right or wrong. Like and subscribe, and if you enjoyed this video, YouTube thinks you'll like this one too, so click it.